All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to send all praises and glory to Call Halayim La, Obanawa Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Wakar Kadash, Barakatah. Double honors to the men of the Lord who have taught us the truth for many, many years. This is your brother, Kabash, coming at you at downtown Fort Lauderdale. Today is Saturday, July 17th. All right? And July is almost over with, man. You know, hey, man, these devils got something in store for you, you two-thirds and you heathens out there, man. You know, these devils are also trying to pin you so-called white privileged people up too. All right, these devils ain't gonna stop. All right, I forgot to give double honors to the apostles and elders who have taught us this truth for many, many years. The water for your teachings, the water for your sacrifice, for coming out here, not just here, but all over, man. You know, it started off in New York and it just spread like wildfire, man. You know, once YouTube got on board, once they started to put their teachings on YouTube, this truth started to spread like wildfire, man. You know, the Most High says, I forgot what it says, in the last days I will pour my spirit upon all flesh, roughly paraphrasing. All right? And Most High's spirit is getting poured out right now, man, because you got the prophets on the highways and the hedges pushing out this truth, letting you know that the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the real Hebrew Israelites that the Bible talks about. All right? So let's get into it, man. Today's topic, we're going to talk about why are our people suffering? Okay? Why are our people suffering? My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. All right? You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Why are you destroyed for lack of knowledge? Because we went off in our past lives. Okay, we have not hearkened to the laws, statutes, and commandments that the Most High wants us to go by. All right, we go to church. Okay, we go to these whorehouses, churches. Okay, we worship Buddha. We worship gods that don't even look like us. Okay. What other group of people does that? What other group of people does that? Worship somebody who does not look like you, who does not have your facial features. Look at the Asians, like the Japanese, Chinese, people from Thailand, Japan, Buddhists. Their God looks like them. Look at the Eastern Indians, Hindu, with all those arms or whatever. Their God looks like them. Okay? The Islam religion, Muslim religion, their God, who they worship, looks like them. All right? But you got our people, the black Muslims, okay? It's funny because black Muslims don't have a beard. All right? But you got your original Muslims, they have a full beard. All right? Their God does not look like you, so why are you worshiping gods that don't look like you? Jesus doesn't look like you, but yet in the Bible it tells you he has feet like burnt brass and hair like wool. But when you go to a church, what is the color of Jesus when you go into the church? A so-called white man. All right? That's called white supremacy. All right? You got an image of a so-called white Jesus in your church when the scriptures clearly tells you how the Son of Man looks. It said he had feet like burnt brass and hair like wool. So why the hell is he a white man? Why is he depicted as a white man? When they have these movies, why is he depicted as a white man when he's in these movies? All right? That's called white supremacy. All right? These devils want to let you know that they rule this planet, man. All right? When you go back to the Renaissance period, Renaissance means rebirth. That doesn't mean the an artistic word, okay? Because we got to remember, during the Dark Ages, the so-called black man ruled Europe, all right? When you go back to ancient Russian paintings, those ancient Russian paintings were pictures of black prophets who had pigment in their skin, all right? Then when the Renaissance came, they painted everything white. If you go to the book of Job 4:9, it says, he covered the faces of the judges thereof. That's what this white man did. He covered the faces of the judges thereof during the Renaissance period. Those are not original paintings. Those are paint overs. Michelangelo, Donatello, or whatever. No. Those are not original artists. All they did was paint over the prophets. All right? So let's get into it, man. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Why? Because if you go to the book of Deuteronomy 28, it talks about the curses. Those curses are still upon us today. But a lot of our people feel like, oh, I got a car, I got a job. All right, I'm doing well for myself. Okay, what you gonna do if you lose your job the next day? What if these devils cut you off? What you gonna do? So everything is not okay, man. What did you have to do to get that nice job? What did you have to do to get that nice house? All right? And some of you may have gotten it by, being honest or whatever. But at the end of the day, these devils are the ones that control our paycheck. Even if you are a black business owner, you still have to go to these so-called devils in government to get permits. You got to get a building permit. You got to get a business license. You got to get a tax ID. Who's the one that owns who's the one that wants the government? It's not the so-called black man that does it. No. Not the so-called Native American. The Native Americans are the original people of this land. You can't go to them. So who is it? Who is Esau? That's him. That's him. Esau. You got to go to Egypt for help if you want things like that. You know? And if you don't follow the regulations, it gets taken away from you. You got to go through their court system. All right? Let's get into it, though. Let's go to the book of Hosea. The book of Hosea, chapter 71. This is the book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of the Most High. I will also forget thy children. And a lot of our people have forgotten the law. Okay? Why? Because you had this thing called plantation Christianity. All right? And also, when you go into the curses in Deuteronomy 28, it says, I forgot what it said. Is it Deuteronomy 28 or another verse? Well, what if you're paraphrasing? I know it's in the, thou shalt forget thy heritage. I think that's the book of, is it Jeremiah? Yeah, I think it's Jeremiah. Discontinue from thy heritage. All right? And that's what we've forgotten. We've been discontinued from our heritage. Therefore, taking up customs of the heathen. All right? Believing in these false doctrines, man. Like Christianity, Christian Science, all these denominations, Mormons, Orthodox, Baptists, Methodists. Okay? These are the doctrines that we have gotten into, man. Those are not the correct doctrines, man. Okay? Yes, they are, you can say the Bible, I don't want to say the Bible is connected to them. They use the Bible as a tool, but they only use that Bible as a tool to get you into the organization, to make you lost. We are the lost sheep of Israel. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You are the lost sheep of Israel, man. You are the real Hebrew Israelites. Those Israelis in Israel are not the real Hebrew Israelites. If they were the real Hebrew Israelites, then how the hell could they build a pyramid like that? And you know Egypt is hot as hell. So how can a pale-faced person, a pale-skinned person that's sensitive to sunlight build the pyramids? It doesn't make any sense. And then if you go on the internet, it says that the highest ratings of sun cancer are in Israel. That tells you that's not their land. They have one of the highest rates of sun cancer. Even the sun doesn't like them, man. All right? Some people may say, oh, you racist. This is extreme. Well, no, the Most High, he does not love everyone. That's in the Bible. He does not love everyone. It talks about how he feels about the heathen. Who is a heathen? And the one that's not an Israelite. You are a heathen. Now, there's a difference between heathen and Gentile. Gentiles like talking about the Israelite foreigners who have fallen away from their heritage. Okay? And take on the customs of other nations. Okay? A lot of our people are Gentiles today. All right? But once you come into this truth, man, you come to the fact that you are an Israelite. And you have to hearken to the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. All right? So let's get into it. Why are we destroyed for lack of knowledge? Well, let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. All right? Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee. Why are we suffering today? I just read it. It says, but if thou wilt not hearken unto my voice of the Lord thy power, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I commanded thee this day. That's why we're suffering. Because we are not hearkening to the law, statutes, and commandments that the Most High wants us to do. It's not just love yourself, love your neighbor as yourself. That's not the only commandment. We have high and holy days we have to go by. All right? Honoring the Shabbat. Not committing adultery. All right? Not having sex on the Shabbat, man. All right? Those are the things we have to do to honor the Lord. It's not about just loving your neighbor all the time. All right? And please don't give me that John 16 bullshit. First of all, you got to break John 3:16 down correctly. What is it talking about when it talks about John 3:16? For God so loved the world. When you go into that word world, it's basically a group of people. All right? You got the world of hip-hop, the world of music, all right? The world of finance. You have many types of worlds. It's not talking about the whole freaking world. No. All right? If that was the case, then how come it says, be ye not of this world? All right? We'll be paraphrasing. All right? Be ye not of this world. So why would Yahushua come and die for the whole world if he said, be ye not of this world? It doesn't make any sense. All right? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And what they got going on over here, it's like a car show or something. You know? But this is what our people live for. They live for material possessions. They live in the now. You only live once. YOLO or something like that. You know? It's crazy. This is what our people do. Perfect timing. They cannot take these riches to them in heaven. You know? It's crazy, man. But it's all good, though. We're still going to preach this word anyway. You know? Let's get back into it. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth unto another, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Okay? So all these gods that you're worshiping right now are false gods. They're not. It's not the original God that we're supposed to worship. All right. So all these false gods that you worship, like these guys here, you see this? All these guys here worship their cars. This is their God. All right. They're not spiritual. Okay. At least the majority of them not spiritual. All right. Think of all the time and money they invest in their cars. All right. What is that going to do to get them into the kingdom? What is that going to do to get them salvation? Nothing. It's not going to get them salvation. All right. That's their God. That's what they're worshiping. They're worshiping something that comes from the ground. But when you're in this truth, we worship the one that made the ground itself, the earth. All right. That's what it's about, man. That's why you have the prophets coming here week in and week out, preaching this truth, to prophesy the downfall of America, man. You know, yeah, everything is all good right now. You know, you see everybody riding around in nice cars and whatever. All right, pretty soon that's gonna come to a stop. Just watch and see. All right, let's go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there shall be sold, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies, for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. So you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans were brought here. Well, not Native Americans, the Hispanics and blacks were brought here to America to be sold for bondwomen and bondmen. You feel me? All right? But everybody says, oh, that's in the past. That's in the past. That's in the past. Okay, well, check this out. If the so-called white man had not burned down our towns, had not destroyed our towns, what type of generational wealth would we have had if they had not had done that? All right? But yet these devils want to put in your mind, oh, that's in the past. But yet, if they send a black man to jail for 20 or 30 years, 20, 30 years later, they're going to say, oh, he deserved it. He deserved to be put in jail. He deserved it. All right? But yet, when you talk about slavery, you want to say, oh, forget about slavery. That's in the past. Okay, why do we have to put slavery in the past, but yet you put a black man in jail for like 20 years over a drug charge? He deserves it. And it's still talked about from time to time and time again. He deserves it. He deserves it. You know? That's not right. All right? Let's go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 7, verse 4. All right? This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 7. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 7, verse 4. Oh, 17, verse 4. Salakia. And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. Thus saith the Lord, verse 5. Jeremiah 17 and 5. Thus saith the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departed from the Lord. Okay? And we have departed from the Lord. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have departed from the Lord, man. You may tell yourself, oh, well, I go to church. That doesn't mean anything. You just go into a building sitting down. That literally does not mean anything. First of all, what are you getting in your churches? Your pork chop eating pastor is not telling you the things that you need to know. All right? And you have the thing called the order of service. What's the purpose of the order of service in the church? Now, there's an order of things in the truth, okay? But in the church service, what's the purpose of that? You got like 5 or 6 collection plates going around doing the service, okay? And then when you finally get to the word, the pastor gets on the pulpit, talks about his family, his friends, and stuff like that. May say an inspirational word or two. By that time, it's time to go home. Okay, so what type of spiritual knowledge did you gain from going to church? All you did was dress up with a suit and tie. Women, you probably had your nice skirt on or whatever, and your kids all dressed up. All right. What type of spiritual density or spiritual knowledge did you obtain while going to church? Could you tell me what the subject was about last week? What did the preacher talk about last week? What did he talk about last week? Can the preacher give me the breakdown of certain books in the Bible? Can the preacher give me certain breakdowns about certain meaning of words in the Bible? Can the preacher give me certain words on what certain words mean in the ancient Hebrew? Can your pastor tell me what 2 languages were used during the time that Yahweh walked the earth? Can these devils tell you? No, they can't. The majority of them can't. I mean, you might have a few that may have a little knowledge about the ancient Hebrew and a little bit of something else, but I'm talking about an in-depth breakdown. Something that's going to help your soul, enlighten your mind. You know what I'm saying? Because when you go to church, you're just fulfilling your flesh. You're not fulfilling your spirit. The only reason your spirit is fulfilled, I guarantee you this. The only reason you go to church, you know, is to basically socialize. And that's why a lot of people go to church, just to socialize. It's not to obtain spiritual depth, not to obtain spiritual knowledge. You know? These churches are whorehouses, man. These churches feminize men. Back in the day, I couldn't understand why men didn't want to go to church. I used to always see women. Now I know why. Okay? The ministers are feminine. The deacon board is feminine. You know? You cannot have no feminine leadership, man. The Most High created man to be head of the household. How can a man be feminine and run a household? That's impossible. These churches have made our men sorry, man. You know? But these pork chop eating preachers aren't going to tell you that. They're not going to tell you that. They're not going to give you the correct breakdowns of Genesis. The correct breakdowns in Jeremiah. Okay? They're not going to tell you that the Most High He's the one that created good and evil. All right? They're not going to tell you these things. Going back to Hosea 4 and 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. That's why you destroy it. And not only that, the Israelites in Deuteronomy 28 refers to you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We are still under the curses today. We are definitely still under the curses today, man. You may say, oh, well, I went to all-black college. I made it. Okay, well, you still had to do such and such to get that job. The so-called white man can still fire you. So you don't have power like that, man. The only ones who have power like that are these devils that are up. I'm talking about above governments. You got these devils that own governments. Okay? And America is just a corporation, man. America is not really a country. It's a big-ass corporation. All right? So this is not a free country, because you are still restricted on things that you can do and cannot do. All right? So don't think you can just come over here. Well, heathens, they can do it. I admit, the heathens, they can go to our neighborhoods, shut up shop, and make a whole buku money out of us, man. Give me some black business owners in the hood, okay? Black business owners in the hood, all right? Now tell me this, how many Asian convenience stores you have in the hood? How many Eastern Indian stores you have in the ghetto? All right? They are in our neighborhood making money off of us. Ain't that some foolishness? We cannot even make money in our own neighborhood. But the so-called Asian, the so-called Eastern Indian, the so-called Korean, the Middle Eastern man, they can go to the ghettos in America, set up shop, make a convenience store, or make a hair product store, and boom, they are making money in our community. All right? That doesn't seem right, does it? When you think about it. But it's been in the hood so long that we don't think about it. Oh, Habib, yeah, he cool, man. He always give me a discount on my do-rags when I go to the store. Habib is making money off your ass. It's not because he loves you. He wants to make money off of you. Habib will try to act like you. Say, what's up, dog? I got some good stuff for you today. He making money off of you, man. But that's what you got to realize. A lot of you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are lost. You don't know who you are. Just like it says in Jeremiah, chapter 17, verse 4, working paraphrasing. Discontinue from thine heritage. All right? Let me go to that again. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah 17 and 4, and I'm going to read verse 5. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 17, starting at verse 4. And thou, even thou, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies. And that's what we're doing right now. You know? I drive for a living, man. I pick up people with special needs and disabilities. A lot of our women, Benjamin, Judah, Levi especially, which is the so-called Haitian, the so-called Black American, and also Jamaican, which is Benjamin. A lot of those nurses are service aides to these devils. All right? They serve a lot of white families, especially Jewish families. All right? But it says in the scriptures, it's right here. It says, I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. Okay? And this is not our land. All right? This is definitely not our land. But yet we're serving these Edomites, these enemies. And these devils who are in these synagogues of Satan, they know that we are the real children of Israel. They know that we are. They may act nice to you and everything. All right? But they know who we really are. The president of Egypt a long time ago said that the Israelites left black and came back white, which is true. All right? Which is another reason why the Palestinians and these Jews are fighting in the Middle East today. Because the Palestinians know that that is not their land. All right? Now, the Palestinians don't like us either. All right? But they definitely don't like the Edomites that are over there, man. You know? And then you see all these signs, support Israel. We are the real Israelites that the Bible speaks about. You had a guy on YouTube actually say that the real Hebrew Israelites are in America today, who are the so-called blacks. All right? Now, the so-called Hispanics and Native Americans are Hebrew Israelites also. It's not just about black. It's not just blacks. All right? Now, I will say this too. Now, it does say in the scriptures that we will scatter among the heathen. All right? So we're going to have faces that look like the heathen. But if the lineage of your father goes back to an Israelite, if your father was an Israelite, then you are an Israelite. And the perfect example I always like to use is Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin is mixed. His dad is dark. Blake Griffin's mom is a so-called white woman. All right? Blake Griffin's mom is a so-called black woman. Blake Griffin's son looks like a straight-up white boy. He looks white. But he's not just, he's white, yes, but he's an Israelite. Because Blake Griffin is an Israelite. So you can't go by the color of your skin to know if you're an Israelite or not. You know, if this truth resonates with you, then you're an Israelite, to be honest. Lord willing. Well, I say Lord willing, I don't know. All right, Lord willing. But you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man, you need to wake up to who you really are, man. Start bowing down to this so-called white Jesus. Jesus is a Greek name. It's not a Hebrew name. I think it's pronounced Jesus or something like that. All right? That white Jesus in your church is not the real image of how he looked. It tells you how he looked. It tells you he has feet like burnt brass and hair like wool. Well, why do you have a picture of white Jesus in your churches? It's called white supremacy. These devils want you to realize and think that they are in charge. So every time you see a picture of a white Jesus, it does mind tricks on your brain. All right? It has a psychological effect on your brain. Okay? That's why you see a white Jesus in these movies, man. All right? Jesus was not white. He was a so-called black man. And most of these Christian churches know that verse. It's in the book of Matthew. He had hair like wool, feet like burnt brass. So why do these devils continue to make an image of white Jesus and put it in these black churches? Why? Because it's about control. These devils want to control you. And that's what they're doing now. All right? Now, they did say in the book of Deuteronomy 28 that we will be cursed. Okay? And I just read here in the book of Jeremiah that we will serve our enemies. And that's happening today. It's still happening today. Okay? Now, Esau's end is about at the end. We at the end right now. But trust me, these devils are getting ready to come in like a flood. All right? You already know there's a new strain of the coronavirus that's out right now. So what you think is going to happen? Everything's going to be locked down again. All right? Everything's going to be locked down again. And it's going to be worse than what it was last time. All right? So you devil, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man,